The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour. As always, what do we like to do? We come together at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what's in the church of what's happening now? The beige book just came out, kind of playing around at these levels. I didn't see a big move of it. The headlines, really not a whole lot new, I don't think, there in the beige book. I didn't see it, but go through the whole thing, but not a whole lot going on. We've got some earnings and options expiration on Friday. I don't think we got a lot out of earnings. I was looking for, in the newsletter this morning, a top out in Tesla. I think we've got that. It was up significantly pre-market. It's now down 3% pre-market. But it just looked like a lot of stocks were up on very light volume. I thought maybe coming into yesterday morning, it would be in the afternoon that the market cracked. It really started getting weaker a little bit at 10 a.m. And I think it was some of the downgrades that people were pushing in the media and some others. But we'll go through a lot of that. Options expiration is on Friday. Options suggest that the SPYs will be somewhere around 390 to 395. Right now we're at 393.35. So we're kind of headed down on that. We did break 395, which connotes that we'll at least probably test 390 on the SPYs before Friday. Is there a whole lot more lower than that? Not really. Coming in this morning, let's see, do I still have it here? Thought I did. There we go. Well, let me pull this up. One of the things that we are starting to look at, I'll just show a couple of them from the newsletter here today, that you would have already seen if you get the path of least resistance. And that were the TD9s. We had a ton of TD9s go into an extended TD9 yesterday. And out of about 4,800 stocks, generally you don't want to see that many in the 8s and 9s. So there was a little bit left over going into it, but there were a lot of stocks topping out. If you're a fan of the Tom DeMark TD9 fan club. So was showing that. One of the other things that I thought was very interesting, too, was the divergence that we were starting to get out of the 5 and 10% of the McClellan summation index. Let me pull back a little bit here. Did we? It didn't like me resizing the chart. Anyway, this is the NYSE, but the summation index is a aggregate of what is known as a 5 and 10% input from the advance and decline lines. And you can dig through that to find out more what that means, but I do put them in my charts each morning. What you don't want to see is this wild divergence between the 5% and the 10% as we had. And that really starts to show that there is a chasm between the current prices and the prices that will come soon enough. Like as I said, I didn't see anything that really stuck out as news to change things. Option market makers had been bearish pretty much through last week into this week, so they really didn't blink or change their mind. As I said, there's probably not a whole lot going on between now and then, but we did see some of the ones that were massively shorted give us a fairly good sign that the top was in. Certainly, Tesla being the stock that literally everybody decided that they had to be short, made a fairly good low down around 100 and some odd. What was that? 101.83. Did get to 126.68 today. So a pretty good 35% pop in that one. It's given about half of that pop back, but that's generally what you see when the end of the short sellers are back in. I don't see a whole lot else out in here. We'll go through the charts together on the show today, but that's kind of it. It's 50 Shades of the Beige book, by the way. Most people don't know that. With Senior Powell, with the Cat of Nine Tails. So we'll joke on. Did get some emails here, so we'll go to and take a look at those. But yes, I did see the head of CNBC try to push down a actual reporter, and it is kind of interesting to see that there are still reporters still out there, but the thinly veiled corporate news that CNBC is at Davos. Not surprising, these guys are such, I don't know, I could call them a lot of names, but certainly reporters is probably not one of them. But it was kind of funny to watch the Rebel Media guy. They're kind of like the second media organization of Canada behind the government-owned CBN, which I dealt with a great deal because our company was based out of Toronto. So it was kind of interesting. They kind of used to be like a BBC. Now they're kind of more like the propaganda arm of the Soviet Union. Not the Rebel. I meant the CBN. But very interesting to see that the last thing anybody wants over there in Davos is for someone to actually speak or ask truth to power, although everybody says that's the business that they're in. Yeah, just a lot of Bond villains as far as I could tell. Yes, everybody else has emailed me about the multiple takes of somebody being arrested. And can you really just not say that the media is anything more than a propaganda arm of many other folks these days? Really just can't really spend a lot of time believing anything you see on the TV. You really have to kind of dig in it these days, but very interesting. Bug pushers. No, I'm not eating bugs, nor am I going to live in a tent so that they can fly their jets ad nauseum over there and then look down their nose at us. 877-927-6648. Okay. Well, we've got some other questions we'll get to. We're going to do a little bit of history. Then we'll move on to some charts. Do I see a lot of destruction before the end of the week? No. As I said, maybe 390 on the SPYs kind of signals. Maybe you may overshoot that a little bit, but certainly kind of looks like we're in that vein.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Cakestat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Cakestat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And as we get back, let's do a little bit of history, and then we will get into the charts.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 2005, the first Airbus 380 is unveiled. It wouldn't actually ship until December of 2007, almost 3 years later. It was the world's largest commercial jet, nicknamed the Super Jumbo. And, of course, a conglomerate of the UK, Germany, France, and a bunch of other folks. And the interesting part was it was so big that it crushed runways. The wingspan was so wide that it ran into everything. There were about 250 of them built, maybe 255, something like that. Give you an idea, almost 1,600 747s were built before it was canceled. But the interesting thing is, out of 250, some 50 of them ran into yet another plane because the wings were so long. The new 777 variants and some of the newer planes from Boeing are going to go to longer wings, but they're going to be set up much like the carrier aircraft, where the last 20 feet of the wing can actually be turned straight up, so that they'll fit. And of course, they won't be anywhere as close as heavy as the 380, which crushed a number of runways. One of the reasons why it was canceled so quickly, that there just weren't that many places it could go. It was too big, way too heavy, and most of the places didn't want to spend a ton of money for one or two trips a day by the Airbus A380, the biggest plane made. 877-927-6648. Two jet planes fly jet Canada. Okay. Now we got a bunch of questions. We'll get into them. First is Lululemon. It's come right back up and filled the gap. That was probably it. A lot of these stocks, I don't see huge downsides, but I do see possibly retesting the previous low. On this one, it'd be the January 9th low at 289.48. That had 8 million shares. Pretty good indication, along with that high volume, that you're going to go back and retest that 290 level in Lululemon. See what else we had out here. I had some other questions, and now I'm trying to remember what everybody wanted to do. Oh, Apple. Is this a mean reversion trade? You did pop. You are holding that gap today without a lot of volume. You know, it's not uncommon for either Microsoft or Apple or a handful of the other stocks to be pushed by the market. And then you distribute stock. As the indexes go higher, a lot of people think that they can buy some other stocks when the market's really just kind of being manipulated by everybody buying one stock like Apple or Microsoft along the trail. The only thing I could say is I wouldn't, the perfect short on Apple is 145. If it can get up there maybe with 144.50-ish or something and just have no volume, that would be a perfect setup for a big ABC on the way down. Right now, you just have kind of a bounce in a downtrend, which would connote that you don't really have anything other than maybe a retest of 124.76 coming back at you. But is this a mean reversion? I don't think so. I think maybe you could get a little bit more. That they'll push this stock to the exclusion of others, mostly based on China reopening. But when it fails, it could be fairly significant. If you're looking about current expansions, if this was the C point today, your low comes in on 1-to-1 at 105.87. So could it get worse? It could. You certainly had extensive and strong volume on the way down from that October 28th high at 157.50 down to the 124.76 low on January 5th. So, I mean, the good part on a lot of these stocks is they did have lower volume tests of previous lows. That's the June 16th low that had 108 million shares. But you got into that with 88.5 million shares. You know, 10% lighter, can you still get a bounce and a retest? You could. I don't think that there's a whole lot of reasons, if you wanted to go long-term on Apple, that you would buy it before it retests that January 5th low once again. And again, I may short it if it got back up into those confluence levels. 877-927-6648. Question about Lululemon. Filling the gap here today on a very light volume. Just setting up a retest of 289.48. Tesla, as I said in the opening, I was in the newsletter this morning. I thought it would top out this morning. Fairly good. You got two gaps. They continue to short the living daylights out of it, so it's probably not ripe just yet. If you short it today, maybe you're going to get all your money that you're going to get fairly quickly today. I would love to see them push this up even higher and everybody quit shorting and then set up a move for lower prices. See what else out here is on the go. We got a few more things. Okay. Okay. SLVO for J. Credit Suisse. I don't know what this thing is. Not enough volume for me to actually figure it out either. USOI. even these things that I know are based on other stuff. This is the covered calls ETN. I'm not a big fan of buying ETNs either, but maybe it's a way of reducing some risk on this trade. I'm just not a big fan of it. Yeah, kind of ugly actually on the chart too. But these things just don't have any volume, so I'm not a big fan of chasing those around. Okay, what else do we have? Schwab's earnings. I don't know if you learned a lot either on that. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charted software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're looking at Microsoft real quick. A little bit of a bar that could end up being a smaller engulfing on them killing about 10,000 jobs. I don't know if you can make a great deal more about it than that. Cisco, no report on where the kid is, but Cisco. Down today. Not a lot of juice either. This really kind of sets up a long-term test of about 45.75. And if the market would start doing better at that point, I think that might be a decent buy in this one. But just probably in a big range right now, probably from a little over 45 into about $50. Hard to say that these guys go belly up, mostly since your only other option is to go and buy Chinese routers, and those are all virused up from the beginning. So kind of a tough market to be in. Either you pay exorbitant prices from Cisco, or you get hacked by the Chinese by buying the Chinese routers. But most countries are not doing it. So there is some decent business in the Cisco. It's not probably going away. May it be a little worse before it gets better. I think the chart's kind of saying that. In earnings and other things, Oatly, we talked about this IPO when it came out. I know a lot of the women really love it. I don't know if they're continuing to drink it. The chart would say no. But you have Beyond Meat and you have Beyond Cow. And Oatly is a fake milk company, much like Beyond Meat is a fake meat Soylent Green company. Yeah, they're not that good. So what can you say? Well, a lot of juice into this one. Reversed and went lower. They really tried to push this into the gap down from the 13th, but thought it was interesting. Trying to run those shorts here early this morning in the Beyond Milk Company. JBHT on earnings. One of the winners on kind of a down day. White balance. Okay. Yeah. Why don't we change that? Yeah. It was pretty horrible today, wasn't it? Okay. Maybe that's better. Okay. Multi-action spyware. Anyway, JB Hunt, give you a good idea that everybody is starting to ship a lot more stuff. You're back up to the gap, but again, so many of these things, you just go up to these gap lower, and that's it. You're not going to get past it very easily. There's only a handful of stocks that have, so you want to watch those closely for pullbacks to support. But like these, you're just going up to 187.11 today, but it's right back to the bottom of that gap lower back on the 15th of December. A lot of this just shows that there's probably a narrow trading range into the spring. I don't see anything that says blowout levels lower, but at the same time, 4,000 does look like a fairly decent resistance level. On the SPYs, probably bouncing between 395 and 390, at least through Friday. Okay, what else is going on here in the church of what's happening now? We looked at Microsoft. I know Activision was being ATVI being bandied around this morning. Probably the thought is that the Biden White House and the Justice Department is not going to allow the Microsoft to actually buy Activision. Some of the competitors don't like it. This one's kind of a 50-50 thing. You could flip a coin and probably come up with a reason for them not to be able to buy, Microsoft not be able to buy Activision. But I don't know, is it clear cut? No, probably has more to do with who the judge is. Oh, the judge is on this. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we did talk about Spice earlier in the week. Someone's brought that up. I don't understand how these, depends on how much money they want to throw. But, they've had failure after failure. And, just again this morning, SpaceX launches another perfect satellite bunch this morning, just at dawn. It's out walking the dogs. You can see it all the way here from the other side of the state, the free state of Florida, by the way. Okay, XLE question for Mike. Take a quick look at that as we get to what has been resistance levels before, which is about 90. You popped through it with lighter volume on November 14th, and that's where you had a fairly decent return. Now you're back up to those levels. You want something about 30 million shares to blow through. You only have about 13 million. I think the market thinks it's fairly valued at this point, and there isn't a lot of money to get on the upside. But at the same time, not a lot of signals out here talking about what happens on the downside. Interesting. Question about Kamiko. Do we have enough time? We'll talk more about this question on the other side too. But the question is thorium, which is Kamiko, of course, big uranium refiner, probably the best way to say it, for nuclear power stations, not for nuclear weapons. Question about thorium. Thorium is kind of like uranium. We'll get into the gritty details after the break. Probably the big news in thorium this year is that India doesn't have any uranium, but they got a lot of thorium. Now, thorium is just a little different than uranium, but you can make power stations out of it because depends on how you set the chemistry up. But you can make uranium out of thorium. Doesn't really take that much more. And instead of using about 1% of the uranium like most reactors do, if you use a thorium base, convert the first pop into uranium, you can end up using about 20% of that. So it is highly efficient. And as we said, India opening the first thorium reactor, actually full-size reactor this year. So it may take a little off of uranium. We'll talk more about this after the break. But yeah, for these companies, it's not just uranium, it's all of the above. We'll be back in a minute.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
As we come back, we're talking a little bit about nuclear energy, and of course, everybody thinks uranium or maybe plutonium, but certainly in some areas of the world, like Brazil and India, where they have a ton of thorium, but no uranium, you can use thorium. Normally, uranium gives off a lot of energy when you hit it with a proton, and it falls apart, and energy is released. Thorium gets hit by a proton, becomes uranium-235. Then you can hit it with another proton, and it will split apart, and you get the same energy. So you've got kind of a two-step process. The big difference is that in that whole series of things is that because of the chemistry, you can use about 20% of the thorium eventually will become uranium and will be fissioned and make power. So it is highly efficient. There's about as much thorium available around the world as there is uranium, but certainly countries like Brazil and India are going that way. And as we said, India is going to have their first thorium plant online sometime this summer. We actually had a thorium molten salt reactor in the 60s, and it all worked. The big problems they had were back then was not being able to figure out which of these of the tubing or piping that they used in it had cracks in it. Now, of course, we have all kinds of ways of validating whether or not welds are good and tubing or piping is good and doesn't have any cracks. And you don't have to use molten salt. The reactors for India are going to be low pressure, about the same pressure you run in your car's radiator, instead of about 20 times that in the reactors we have here in the United States and most of them around the world. So not a bad idea, I think, for India. Brazil looks like it's going to, if they're going to buy the technology from India, if it seems to work. That way you don't have to worry about ever getting any power to your country if you own the ability to mine it locally. Most of these things take 10 years to get to fruition, and I think this is the 9th year for India in developing this power plant. So it's probably one of many. So this industry is still pretty good. I don't see Cameco going in to the whole thorium business, but there's more than one way to skin a cat, and certainly India is leading the charge on thorium this year. But every month, 4 new coal plants in China 90% of all greenhouse gases come from India and China. Us doing anything will have no impact in the broader scale. Europe doing everything won't have any impact in the broader scale, mostly because of the huge amount of coal being used now in India and in China. And, you can tell them all you want. They are not going back to the Stone Age from whence they came. 877-927-6648. TSM still doing bonkers business, hitting 90. There just isn't a lot of juice here today. Looks like it's trying to complete some kind of ABC higher. So let's take a quick look at that. So what would that be? 59. There it is. Okay. So the standard ABC here would be to a 1-to-1 to 96.90. Don't know if you're going to get that big doji today, half the volume. You're also back into a previous high that had 16 million shares. You're not doing bad today with 14 million shares, but that energy off this December 28th low never really picked up. You do have two nice gaps on the way higher. You probably got the third one today. I would have liked to seen it just a little bit bigger, but you're in that range. Does it back up too much? Don't think so, but it may have to consolidate out for a while at these levels if the market doesn't go higher. Let's take a quick look. Looked at Activision. Let's look at Electronic Arts. Nuclear. Okay. Thought we were doing the Bush thing. Okay. EA. Nice. I don't see anything in this. Just a big doji out here today on light volume. They continue to do well. I think long term these game companies are going to do better as AMD and NVIDIA continue to shoot themselves in the foot on video cards. You'd think that these guys would figure out what was going on. A whole lot of nothing in AMD today. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. Nuclear. Okay. You're filling a gap down on NVIDIA, NVDA. It's on the 15th of December. You had 47 million shares. Yesterday you got into it at 51. So you kind of filled that gap with a little more volume, just going sideways here. These companies can make a lot of money. Right now they're just busy shooting themselves in the foot by irritating their customers. So, I don't know anybody that would irritate their customers. Okay. Take a quick look at Workday. Okay. Corn Pop. Okay. So is this an ABC on the way down for Workday? If it is, that takes you back down to the middle part of this gap. 46% retracement off the low just takes you into the gap down that had heavy volume of 3 million shares. You're up into that today with 1 million shares. So, you could be down here. Supports, you got a double gap at about 148. I think that's the first step in this. I think a lot of these stocks are really going to be playing in bigger trading ranges now. We may be in trading ranges for a while, so just get ready. Quick question to look at Micron. Okay. So you got a 64% retrace, just going sideways out here. Energy was fairly good off the lows. Micron still is getting decent orders. I certainly wouldn't be short this thing shy of $61. So you got another $3. I'd much rather look at something else. until you test that $61 level on Micron. So, no, I wouldn't short it. We'll be back in a minute.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
As we get ready to wrap up the end of the show, let's take a look at volume. And we've got we'll call it 8.3 billion shares on the CBOE consolidated tape. So volume's good. Is it blowout? No. I would have liked to see a little bit more come in, but day's not over yet. We always refer to Curly and City Slickers. And, of course, he asked, have you killed? How many people have you killed today? He said, day ain't over yet. Well, day ain't over yet, so we'll see what the volume does come in at. But it's not mild. It's not wild. It is kind of a little bit more than warm. It's not cold and it's not too hot, but it is kind of on the warm side out here. See how the end of the day comes in. If you missed the beginning of the show, options really kind of showed 395 on the SPYs as the first support level that broke. 390 is the next level down. For from looking at everything else, certainly looks like we could be in a lower trading range going into Friday, somewhere between that 390, 395 level on the SPYs. So I don't have any signals out here that says we're going to blow through that at the lows this week. In fact, 390 does look like it could be fairly decent support, but we're kind of in this range where we're in earnings. Some of them are good and some of them are bad. When you look at UAL today down, almost 5%, are they just getting ready for some more earnings in the next few days? Could be. But we have the outliers, too, on the other side, like JB Hunt, up about 5% on its side. So a little bit of country and a little bit of rock and roll, but it doesn't look like we're going to make any kind of blowouts before Friday. In fact, the market probably looks like it's ready for a little bit of rest and consolidations at some lower levels. Anyway, sell when you can, not when you have to, and we'll see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible